My nails are tore up. Ooh, by the time you see me again, hopefully my nails will be together. I know. But hey guys, it's Rochelle here for the Wealthy Weaveologist channel and the wealthyweaveologist.com. So, those of you who have been following me for a while, you've probably seen the video about scams, or multiple videos. I've done multiple videos about various different scams. Those of you who are thinking about going on this journey to search for a hair vendor, I want you to know that a lot of those scams that I talk about in those videos they're prevalent, they exist, but I don't want that to deter you from starting a hair business. Now, I know sourcing hair from overseas is a very scary process. And by the way, if you have not seen my Alibaba.com updated videos about it's a little over an hour, so get your pens, get your notepad, and take some notes because it's a little long video. I decided to do a little longer video. And as I stated in one of my previous videos, that I'm coming out with an e-course. So of course it's not going to be published on YouTube. It will be enrollment based. So those of you who are interested in that, stay tuned on my YouTube channel because I will give you more details on how you can sign up for the e-course. Okay, so I'll talk about that later. I'll let y'all know. I'll give y'all the full tea on that later. But I want to talk about scams, and I think some of you guys are still nervous about that. One thing you have to keep in mind is that even though they're overseas vendors, they're overseas businesses, most of them want your business. So they're going to be on their P's and Q's when dealing with you. They typically are going to, act like they have some sense, if you will. They're not going to do anything outright scammy. They're not going to ask you for your credit card information outright. The majority of the scams that you see in searching for hair vendors are, typically, to most people who are doing business, they may not consider that a scam. It's just misleading. And what I'm referring to is selling you crappy hair. Okay, that is typically the biggest issue, the biggest hurdle that you're going to have to go over or get over when sourcing hair from overseas. Okay, that's pretty much going to be the biggest thing. And basically what it is quality control. If you start any type of business, you're going to have to go through quality control. If you get some shirts, t-shirts printed up for your business, some of the companies that you contact are not going to process your shirts like you want them to. So that's why we go through the process of vetting vendors, and we go through the process of asking them certain pertinent questions. Is the possibility, even if we go through this process, are we still going to get crappy hair? To a certain extent, yes, but it's not going to be crappy hair to the point where it's unwearable. Okay? You're not going to get sent hair that as soon as you look at it, it's going to ball up. And that's what a lot of people are getting when they just order hair just based on pictures alone. I don't know if you've heard of the app called Wish. It's this thing where you can purchase really, really cheap wigs and really, really cheap products in general. And it's coming from China too. So there have been plenty of videos here on YouTube about people purchasing wigs and stuff like that on Wish and getting something totally different. Getting a wig that doesn't even look like the picture. It looks like something from Lord of the Rings. One of those like Michael Myers lace fronts. Yeah, if you don't have a process, if you don't have a way of going about searching for hair, that can't happen. I'm not gonna lie to you. You can get some crazy hair sent to you. However, the likelihood of getting that kind of hair is very low when you have a process to go through. Okay? Typically, what's going to happen is you're going to have, when you go through the sampling process, let's say you sample 5 or 6 vendors, 2 of those are going to send you hair that is going to mat up and tangle. The rest of those vendors are going to send you some pretty decent quality hair, that you can sell and make a profit. Okay. So I don't want you to think that all these vendors are selling crappy hair, because they're not. They want your money. They want your repeat business. But for example, if you contact a vendor and they take 2 weeks to respond back to you, they don't want your business, so you move on. If you have a company that is saying that they sell mink hair that's from Peru, you move on. Don't waste your time on those types of vendors. And I talked about the Peruvian, Brazilian marketing ploys and things like that in my scam videos, because that's a real big issue. I see a lot of people requesting Malaysian hair, and for the most part, Malaysian hair does not exist. Now, I know there's exceptions to the rule. When I first said that on my channel, I had this lady, I don't know if she still watches my channel, but she said that she was coming out with some hair. She from Peru. She was going to go through the hills of Peru and start a hairline. Now, she didn't contact me back and tell me about this Peruvian hair, because I was like, girl, I want some. I want some of this hair from the hills, the foothills, I think she said, of Peru. I was like, yeah, girl, sell it. If you really have it, sell it. But she never came back and she never gave me an update on that. So I don't know. But most of the hair, like I said in the Alibaba.com video that I posted recently, all those vendors that I talked about were based in India or China. How is that Peruvian hair? You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that there's no companies at all in Peru that sell hair, but I'm telling you, if you're going on Alibaba.com, if we're using these websites, the hair's not Peruvian. So I would suggest you not use those companies. Now, a lot of people are like, Rochelle, all the companies on there are telling me that they have Peruvian hair. Not all of them. Now, there's a good portion on there that are. Not all of them. Okay? That's also the reason why I tell you to use various different websites. Because, yeah, some of the companies on there are probably selling crappy hair, but not all of them. Not all of them are selling crappy hair. Not all of them are using the Brazilian terms and all of that. So you basically have to weed through the riffraff and use the filtering process that I showed you in the video to get through the vendors. And when you go through that process, you'll notice that you only have maybe 10 vendors left after you do all that. So all of the riffraff fall to the side, and so you have about 10 to work with. And then you go to other websites and you go through that process on that website, and you just go from there. It is a tedious process, I understand that. But if you want to find your own vendor, that's kind of what you have to do. Okay? Now, a lot of times I still see people who ask me about sending hair or sending money Western Union. I don't know why I keep getting those questions. To me, even here, you wouldn't think about it, you would not send money Western Union to someone in the United States unless you knew them, right? So you would not send money to a vendor, Western Union, unless you know that they are a quality vendor. If you keep getting pressure from a vendor to send your money Western Union, that's a scam. And I talked about that in my scam video. That's that is an outright scam, because most vendors will at least allow you the opportunity to send money in a more secure fashion. Now, I realize there are Indian vendors out there that say that they don't offer that. Honestly, the vendors that I've dealt with in India, which, y'all know, you've seen my videos, I don't shade Indian vendors, but I don't deal with a lot of Indian vendors because of that reason. Now, I realize Indian hair is popular. So, for those of you who absolutely want to purchase hair from these Indian vendors, I realize a lot of these Indian vendors still do not offer PayPal. Some of them on Alibaba do allow you to purchase hair through the Alibaba platform. There are still some that don't. The trade assurance thing that I was talking about in my Alibaba.com video, they do some of them. Most of the ones that follow the trade assurance, however, are Chinese-based vendors. Okay, most of them, I would say do as much research, Google reference checking as you can with those vendors, on those Indian vendors, because I don't want you to send your money to India and not get anything in return. Okay? I don't want you to do that. Now the Southeast Asian vendors, the Vietnamese vendors, if you see on Alibaba, there are several Vietnamese vendors on there. They do offer PayPal, so you can get around that. I haven't heard of any Southeast Asian scams going around. I think the issue with those vendors are you have to go through the quality control, especially with their closures. To me, the Southeast Asian vendors are still kind of behind the times with their construction of the closures. The closures that I've seen, I remember I sampled a closure from a vendor, a Vietnamese vendor, and the closure was too thick in the front. It was really thick in the front. They compacted too much hair in the closure, and I just don't think they have. There's something about the Chinese vendors. They've really mastered the art of ventilating hair. I don't ventilate hair. I know some of you watching, I've had conversations with some of you about getting bulk hair from overseas to use to ventilate. And I think there's a process, there's different types of needles and stuff like that you use to ventilate the hair. I know that much. I ain't got the patience. I might try my hand at it. I don't know. I don't really have the patience to do all that right now. Maybe later. I don't want to say never. But I don't plan on coming out with a line of lace wigs anytime soon. But hey, you never know. In the future, I might get into ventilating wigs. But what I will say is the lace, like I said, the pre-plucked, the term pre-plucked, they have that on lock. They have that. The Chinese vendors have that on lock. So it's not really a scam, but it's definitely one of those things where you really have to get into that quality control with these Southeast Asian vendors. I ordered some hair from a vendor. The quality was not that great, to be honest with you. If you're interested, I will show you. I don't have the hair with me right now, but I wasn't a fan of that particular, oh, excuse me. I wasn't a fan of that particular vendor, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to get into that. But it wasn't a scam because they sent me the hair. Okay? So most of the scams out there that I'm seeing after I did the scam video are people still sending money Western Union and not getting their hair. Okay? That's that's still a scam that I'm seeing. I want y'all to be careful. Do not send money to a vendor through Western Union or MoneyGram or bank transfer that you have not purchased from before. Like I said, I realize there are some Indian vendors who they don't want to use PayPal. I don't know why, but some of them don't. So you're going to have to do a little extra research to find out if they're a legitimate vendor. In worst case scenario, order a couple of bundles and see, you know, order pieces at a time to see if they're trustworthy. If you absolutely want to deal with that vendor. Now, I'm going to say this, and I said this in another video. I can't remember the title of the video, but I really want to know why some of y'all are loyal to Indian hair. I don't know. Maybe you have a preference. Maybe your customers, your clientele, you know, that's what they like. That's the kind of hair you like. Maybe if you're a stylist, that's the type of hair you like dealing with. That's cool. But don't let the fact that you think that Indian vendors are selling better hair, because there are some Indian vendors that also are selling hair that tangles. Okay? Keep that in mind. Don't get caught up in the facade that, oh, it's coming from the temples, it must be good. I had a conversation with someone in the comment section. You think it's coming from a temple. We don't know. We're not there. Okay? That's why I always tell y'all to focus on manufacturing. Don't get into, okay, this is coming from a temple and they're doing all this. We don't know what they're doing. You need to focus on a vendor that's selling you consistent quality. Forget all the temples and stuff like that. Now, once you start selling your hair, this goes into marketing. If you want to tell your clients this hair was imported from Nepal and all this kind of stuff, you want to say you're selling hair, Nepalese hair and all this kind of stuff. You've seen people claiming that their hair comes from this exclusive temple. That's your business. That's between you and your clients. But don't get caught up in all of that temple stuff. Is that the reason why you want to get Indian hair? I don't know. But if your customers are specifically asking you for that, I totally understand. You want to meet that demand. Um, if you're a stylist and you love working with Indian hair, I can totally understand that. But if you just start selling hair and you're loyal to Indian hair, but you're finding vendors that insist on you sending money Western Union, that's a risk I wouldn't take if I were you. Especially a lot of people are trying to, you know, be conservative with their starting capital. I totally understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to be on a budget, I wouldn't risk it with the Indian vendor initially. Don't put all your efforts in finding the best Indian vendor if the Indian vendors you're coming in contact with, they're only suggesting that you send your money Western Union and then you send your money. There's no recourse. You can't get your money back. The same thing is kind of like a bank transfer as well. If you do bank transfers, the fees are expensive for just getting a couple of samples. Because like I said, you want to go through the sampling process. You know, quality control is what we're doing here. So you don't want to order a whole kilo of hair. There's been people who have been scammed like that, who ordered kilos and kilos of hair and they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to set yourself up for that scam just because you want Indian hair so bad. Now, with Chinese vendors, most of the issues that you're going to come in contact, if you come in contact with a unsavory vendor, it's not going to be outright scams per se. They're going to, well, some of it's going to be a scam. You know, like I said, they're giving pictures of celebrity pictures of hair that they do not sell. That's a scam. You will run across that in a lot of the Chinese vendors. That's something you have to look out for. Um, they use a lot of photos from gurus on YouTube. Now, some of those vendors are, especially the AliExpress vendors, I really wouldn't suggest you get hair from AliExpress, but you do what you feel is right for your business. But if you notice, a lot of them will use photos of different gurus and stuff on YouTube. A lot of those are legitimate photos because a lot of people do reviews from the AliExpress hair. So you will see that. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to vendors on, Chinese vendors on Instagram, Chinese vendors on, you just Google anything, you notice that they'll have pictures of like Eva, from America's Next Top Model, or they'll have pictures of Rihanna, and you know that Rihanna or whoever is not wearing their hair. And when you look at the pictures of the hair, it's not consistent. They got pictures of random bundles that don't match the description of the hair. Those are the issues that you're going to run across with the Chinese vendors. When you look at the Indian vendors, you're not going to see a lot of that. They don't do a lot of that on their end. I think that's why some people feel like they can trust them more. But I'm going to tell you, there's some unsavory Indian vendors as well. But most of the things you're going to come across with the Indian vendors is the scams are that Western Union, or MoneyGram type thing. That's the only thing that right now in 2018, since I've done my videos about the scams, I'm still seeing people, sending money to some of these Indian vendors and not getting their product. Also, I'm still, I, I just wouldn't risk it if I were you. Most of you who are just starting out your businesses, I wouldn't risk dealing with a vendor right now. Don't put that at the top of your list, basically is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now, the Southeast Asian vendors, the Vietnamese vendors, and things like that. One thing that I'm noticing that they're doing is they show a lot of video of their products. A lot of them use Instagram heavy. Since I've done my videos, I noticed, I did my videos last year about scams. I've noticed some of the Southeast Asian vendors, they are showing a lot of photos or videos of their hair. If you notice, most of the videos are showing bone straight hair. They're shaking, you know how they do in the videos. They're shaking the hair in the videos, but it's only straight hair. I tell y'all to sample textured hair because that hair has been processed, and usually that's where the issues come in. The curly hair, the wavy hair, that's the hair that tangles, so you want to make sure that hair is on point. If you think about it, most Asian people have straight or wavy hair, so that hair is going to be typically untouched. So you don't want to think, okay, I'm going to order the straight hair. The straight hair may be great, and then you're like, okay, I found my vendor. And so you order all this curly hair, and then it's crappy. So do it the opposite. Order your curly hair, your wavy hair, your samples or whatever, and then later on, if you feel inclined, getting it straight. But that's one of the main issues that I'm seeing with these Vietnamese or Cambodian vendors, the Southeast Asian vendors. You'll see them call it sea hair. That's Southeast Asian. They show a lot of video, and it's misleading at times because just because you see the hair in the video does not mean it's of good quality. Okay, so some of the hair is very pretty, but what I think they're doing is they are processing the hair and then showing the best of the hair that they have to offer on video, but then sending you something else. I'm suspecting that as well. So be careful with the Southeast Asian vendors. They allow you to send money PayPal, so you're okay with that. They're not doing the Western Union stuff. But basically keep that in mind. Western Union, there's still vendors out there scamming with that, and there are still vendors that are using misleading terms. They're using, misleading marketing ploys to get your money. Okay, so just wanted to do an update video on the scam videos. If you haven't seen the scam videos, I will put those in the description box. I will also put the link to the Alibaba, the hour-long Alibaba um, video as well in there. And anything pertinent to my channel, I will put in the description box. And that's about it. I want you to be careful when ordering hair from the vendors. So if you have any other questions, if you're still getting caught up on that, like I said, I will be coming out with an e-course, and we'll address all of that in the e-course as well. But I'll let you know in a series of videos about that e-course as well. So be careful out there with these scams, okay, guys? All right, so this has been Rochelle for the Wealthy Weaveologist channel. And when you see me next, I'll have my nails done. Okay, bye, you guys.